and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to the DPPG Sports Show. In this corner, coming from central New Hampshire, Devin. In this corner over here, originating from New Jersey, Mr. Michael Foley. And standing in the middle of it all, coming from Long Island, New York, the DP and DPPG, Devin.
I say it every week. I still laugh at that.
I would.
And the fact that our reactions to it, it's awesome.
Listen.
It's awesome.
Long Island.
Long Island. Well, hey, everybody. Welcome to this week's podcast. Devin Postlesny here. Coach Foley, Coach Kernan. We are going to dive right into the playoffs here. We're not even going to waste any time. Just
Tournament time, baby. Tournament time.
Yeah. We're going to talk about volleyball first. This way we at least get those words in before they talk about soccer.
Yeah, smart.
But here, real quick, real quick, I want to quickly announce, so we are recording in our new home, which is the Elite Sports Academy in Epsom. And first of all, we want to say thank you to them for allowing us to come in. And, I mean, we took over one of their tables. It's really not that much of a setup, but we appreciate them.
Yeah, I mean, this place is phenomenal.
It's gorgeous. It's incredible. It really is. I told you guys in pre-show how when I came and visited, my jaw was just on the floor. And I'm not an athlete or a coach. Like, it's incredible.
Really?
What?
You're not an athlete?
I was in middle school,
Okay.
but I don't think it counts anymore.
Yeah, once an athlete, always an athlete.
Oh, absolutely.
Once an athlete, okay,
Absolutely.
great. With the bench warmer in middle school. Anyways, but no, so thank you to them for allowing us to come in, and we've kind of been teasing it, but I haven't really said anything yet, but here we go. I'll announce it right now. Starting in November, this podcast is going to become a full-fledged broadcast where every week, hopefully on Sunday mornings, we will be here talking, live streaming video to our website for all of you to be able to watch live on Sunday mornings.
That's pretty good.
Does that mean we need to shave?
Yeah, we're probably gonna have to, sorry,
Fine.
I forgot that we have faces for radio, so we're gonna have a whole new.
Says you.
That's what I'm saying. We'll have a whole new crew in November. But anyways, so yeah, there you go. There's the exciting announcement we've kind of been hiding, not hiding well, but. Yeah, so starting in November, we'll go to a full-fledged broadcast. And that'll be fun because people will be able to chime in on social media and things like that. We're going to live stream it onto our website, onto our Facebook page, and our YouTube channel all at the same time. And then
Giddy up.
Audio of it will be still available on the podcast the next day. That'll be on demand on Apple Podcasts.
That's making big steps right there.
Yeah. No, I'm excited. I also just got a fourth headset, so now we'll be able to have guests between the three of us. So we'll never, yeah.
Guest.
So
Yeah,
I'm excited.
Making big time here.
Yeah, we already have a bunch of coaches came up to me after last week, and they were like, "Can we come on your podcast?" And I'm like, I don't see why not.
Well, Coach and I have to approve.
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
They got to make sure if they don't match, that's a hard.
Oh, I'm sorry. This is a we, not me situation. I forgot about that.
Now we're talking.
Absolutely.
I forgot about that.
He's learning.
Yeah, he is. Yep.
But anyway, so that's the big news, and I'm personally super excited to do that. We have a studio desk in them, actually coming out of retirement from when I used to do the racing web show. We got the logos. It's all so cool. And starting this week, the show presented by Elite Sports Academy. So,
well done.
yeah.
And by trade safe.
No, not
yet.
they're not. They haven't paid anything yet. Yeah, they
It
haven't.
don't matter. Free advertising.
They haven't. Not yet. Later.
Just
But
a
anyway.
special shout out. No.
But yeah. So that's cool. Super. Like I said, thank you to Sarah and James, Christy for letting us come in and basically take over this corner of their facility for a couple hours a week, and it's going to be so much fun. Half a day. But anyways, so let's dive right into playoff talk here because
It's playoff season.
it's playoff
Absolutely.
season.
This is what you coach for right now.
Yeah, literally, and what we cover games for, right? Ever since August 1st, eye on the prize.
Yeah, you're chasing that banner now. That's what you're looking for.
Exactly. So I will blanket statement this right now. We have Division 2-3 volleyball, Division 3 boys and girls soccer. I kind of threw it into, off the current standings, into a tournament maker bracket thing. And this is all unofficial.
Right.
We're recording this Sunday, October 23rd at 11 a.m. So we're about 24 hours away from the actual brackets coming out.
Yep.
So I don't want anybody going, well, DPPG said, and then all of a sudden.
That's what I'm going to tell.
Hey, you know what? You were spot on with field hockey last week. So
I was honestly so impressed by that. Like, I saw the bracket and I was like, no way, I got it right.
That was quite impressive.
Yes. So hopefully our bracket predictions are correct. But
a little bracketology here.
That's why we make the big bucks.
That's it.
wait, you're getting anyways. So how are you getting paid and I'm not?
It's all in who you know.
That's awkward. So let's talk real quick about Division II volleyball. The top part of the bracket, top part of the standings, just like every sport, is basically locked in. The only question mark really on the board still is who's getting in at the base. And they take 13 teams, and the last 3 spots are occupied right now by Laconia, Guilford, and Fall Mountain. Laconia and Guilford have identical records and identical points. Fall Mountain has the same amount of points, but has 2 more losses.
They're on the outside looking in.
Yeah, so they would be on the outside looking in.
It looks like it'll be a tiebreaker between Laconia and Guilford for that 13th spot.
Which, if I'm not mistaken, they split each other this year, playing.
So they played each other.
They played each other
and split those games.
No, Laconia beat them twice.
Laconia beat them twice, so
Laconia should be in.
And Guilford Volleyball Power on the outside looking in for probably the first time in a long time.
I couldn't tell you the last time they missed a playoff berth.
Yeah, and they
going back even to D3 days.
Yeah. They lost to Laconia to start the year, and then at the end of September, lost 3-0.
Yeah.
So it looks like Laconia is going to
hop in there.
Yeah, they're going to take that spot at 13.
Who do you have as the number 1?
Co-Brown Northwood Academy.
Co-Brown. Okay.
So it's Co-Brown, Oyster River, John Stark, Campbell, St. Thomas, your top 5.
Okay.
So Co-Brown, Oyster River, and John Stark would get buys for the first round. And then hold on, what is that date?
They'll start playing on Wednesday, I believe.
Thursday.
First round for volleyball.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, true. Division 2.
Thursday for the 27th, home of the higher seed. You would have Kingswood and Milford 8 and 9, Campbell and Laconia. If Laconia got in, it's Laconia or Guilford is what I wrote. That would be 4 and 13. Number 5, St. Thomas would host number 12, Manchester West. Number 7, Pelham would host number 10, Winnisquam. And number 6, Conval would host number 11, Hanover.
All right.
So, I don't know. You can look at the numbers and say, oh, well, Campbell should beat Laconia or Guilford. St. Thomas should get them for Manchester West, Pelham, and Conval. But last week in field hockey, number 7 Bishop Brady upsets number 2 Newfound.
Yeah.
And we talked last week. We said it was basically Guilford and Newfound for the championship, and they made liars out of us.
Literally, so, Guilford held up their end of the deal, and then.
Well, and that's why playoffs are fun. There's an upset usually somewhere, and it's a lot of fun when you're on the upset side of it. That's fun.
It helps.
Yes,
yes,
it
helps a lot.
I felt pretty good about myself because I sent a crew there last minute. I was like, "Go to this game," and then he brings the camera back, and he's like, "It was an upset," and I was like. No way.
Yeah,
I was like, are you kidding me?
Yeah.
I'm like, I made the right choice on that. But, so that would be what your bracket would look like. Co-Brown, Oyster River, John Stark gets buys, and then Kingswood, Milford, Campbell, Laconia, or Guilford. Right now we think in Laconia. St. Thomas, Manchester West, Pelham, Winnisquam, Conval, Hanover would all play Thursday.
Gotcha. Now, out of Division II this year, I did not follow Division II volleyball.
You were a little busy, right?
Tiny busy. But I would imagine Co-Brown the favorite.
I think
over the court. I mean, Oyster River's been pretty good over the last few years for volleyball. So
Co-Brown and Oyster River they
split. They played twice, and Co-Brown won. Oyster River beat Co-Brown the second time they played 3-2.
Oh, all right.
Yeah,
So-
they have identical records as well, 15-1.
So
But either way, I mean, we saw Co Brown at Campbell a couple weeks ago, and they
It was a blowout. You said.
they came out and played like it was like they
Right.
needed to win. So I think they're definitely one of the ones to beat. Of course.
I mean, Oyster River only lost 10 sets all season.
wow,
Jeez.
that's
and
not
that's
bad.
across what, 16 games?
Yeah.
Jeez Louise. Yeah, no, that's not a bad stat to have on your side.
No, that's you definitely like that.
But I mean, I think
Co-Brown only lost 8. Those are probably the two teams that you want
You
to see.
more than likely
you wanna
see in the final
finals.
then.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, and
Yeah.
they're on opposite sides of the bracket, so they would,
Yeah.
if they played each other, it would be in the championship game. So that's pretty exciting. So yeah, the quarterfinals are on next Saturday. Quarterfinals are on next Saturday, the 29th, at home of the higher seed, and then the semis are on the following Thursday, the 3rd, and the finals are on Saturday, the 5th. Both of those are at Pinkerton Academy.
Nice.
So
It's a nice gym. It's
yeah,
huge.
yeah. So we'll have to
College campus, basically.
we'll have to we'll have to see how that goes. I mean, talking upsets, I'm not gonna lie. I think if on that first day, if we see any upsets, I'm gonna honestly say Winnisquam upsets Pelham, but it's only 10 versus 7.
Right.
So it's not
Still an
a
upset.
huge upset, but
It
it
is
would
if
be
you're Pelham.
it'd be cool.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, because Winnisquam's playing well right now.
Yeah.
And we saw them at Laconia the other day. We saw them at Guilford during their homecoming, and they beat both of those teams. And granted, we mentioned how both those teams are kind of off this season, but still they're normal powerhouses, in Division 2. And I don't know who else they played powerhouse-wise. Well, they lost to Oyster River 3-0. They beat that's Manchester Central. Sorry.
But if you're Winnisquam and you're a 10 seed and you've finished the season playing well, that's
That's
what we all want.
That's a good feeling going into the
Yeah.
playoffs. And if you're 10-7, those are two fairly decently competitive teams.
Yep.
Right.
In the middle of the bracket.
Did Winnisquam and Pelham play each other?
They did in October. They lost to them 3-0.
Okay.
So, but I mean,
In Pelham or
at Pelham,
at
yeah.
Pelham, okay.
So it would be at Pelham again. But I mean, you guys know, you lose a game and you come in, the
playoffs.
players could totally be like, we're not,
And it's
we're
hard
not losing.
It's hard to beat a team twice.
Right.
It's hard to beat a team twice, and if
But-
you're playing them in the playoffs, I mean, there's a little bit more energy, a little more confidence, especially if Winnisquam's playing, a little bit better on the tail end of the season. Not that you would expect Pelham to be overlooking them, but if you already
Right.
beat a team 3-0, you might some of them might have eyes for the quarterfinal. Not the best look,
Right.
but they're high
Wouldn't
school
be the
kids.
first time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're high school kids, and if you beat a team once, you automatically assume that you can beat that team every single time.
The high school kid factor is always the giant wild card in any
The
any
largest,
conversation.
the largest of all wild cards, I would think.
But no, I mean, because if you look at their last 3 games, they played Laconia, who would be 13th. They played Kennett, who I don't even think would make the playoffs, and they played Kingswood, who is 8th.
All right.
So, point being is they lost to Kingswood 3-0, and then they they won the other games.
Yep.
So I don't know if they are on the up and up, or if they
Yeah.
just kind of played. I don't want to say meh teams,
you gotta,
but you know
gotta,
what I mean.
You got to beat the teams you're supposed to beat,
Yep.
regardless of
Right.
where they are schedule-wise or rankings-wise. If you
Yeah.
beat the teams you're supposed to beat, you're going into the playoffs feeling much better than if it was 3-2 to those teams that are on the outside looking in.
Right.
If you take care of business, you're feeling good going in.
Right, and I remember talking to the girls preseason, and they were like, "Oh, Laconia is going to be our biggest rival," and then when they beat them, it was like
Yeah.
winning a championship.
Yeah.
So the fact that they beat them 3-0, it makes me believe what you were just saying about hey, maybe that is a boost of confidence. Hey, we swept Laconia, and we split Guilford, so those are 2 historic good teams, but I don't know how far Winnisquam would go. We'll have to see.
Find out, come playoff time, as we all know, you're going to get players who are going to step up and maybe do things that they haven't done all season that you've been waiting for them to do. And they finally show up.
Right.
So
Exactly.
something about playoffs that
Yeah, there's usually a little
Turning
bit.
time.
It's just a little bit of a more of a fire underneath a guy or a girl
Yep.
that you might not have seen in the middle of September,
right.
Right.
where it's just another Wednesday evening game. Like there's the atmosphere is completely different.
Yeah, especially for playoffs, in general.
And the volleyball gods might shine down. And look, strange things happen.
Yeah, you just
in-
need a
in
little. You
playoffs.
need a little bit of momentum. That's all you
Yep.
need.
Right,
And
especially
volleyball is a
No,
sport
I
where
was just gonna say.
momentum matters.
Oh yeah, immensely. Yeah.
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
Momentum's huge. Yeah.
Yeah.
I was just about to say that.
If you have someone whose serve is on, forget
Yeah.
it. It's
10, 12 points right there.
Yep.
Yeah, literally. I mean, we saw Prospect Mountain play Summersworth opening, or we didn't, but I heard about it. And the fifth set, they got 9 points right out of the gate.
Yeah.
They unfortunately blew that when they were playing to 15. But but it's still 9 points
Right.
in no time.
Yeah.
It doesn't take long to accumulate points in a sport where there's one every couple seconds.
Right.
It's bang bang.
Right, exactly. I mean, there's a reason why they score 75 points in 90 minutes,
yeah.
if you think about it.
Yeah.
So, anyways, I mean, we'll have to see. I think Kingswood hosting Milford's going to obviously be a good game because that's 8 and 9. Campbell should beat Guilford or Laconia, but at the same time, ever since they lost to Co Brown, they've kind of been, from what I understand, they've kind of been on the
downslide.
well, they lost to Co Brown, then they beat Milford, then they lost to Oyster River, and they lost to John Stark, but they won everything else. So maybe not a complete downslide,
Right.
but still. So we'll have to see how that goes. We want to say good luck to everybody in D2 volleyball. Should be a good fun bracket, and good luck to them.
Oh, absolutely. And you'd be remiss if we weren't rooting for the Lakes Region teams.
Oh yeah, of course.
Laconia and Winnisquam, of course, but you just want competitive games regardless of who they're playing.
Right, exactly. So it should be good. And definitely good luck to the Lakes Region teams as well. Moving on to D3. All right, let me switch my tabs here on my computer. I got too many tabs open. So same amount of teams make it in 13. Your top 3 would get a bye, so that would be Messinic, Summersworth, and Newfound. Messinic's the only team that's undefeated with a 16-0 record right now, but they are tied with Summersworth points-wise, but Summersworth has a 16-1 record. So they played 17 games compared to the 16 games Messinic did. Wow, interesting. So Messinic, Summersworth, and Newfound would get first-round byes. And then on Wednesday the 26th, you'd have number 8, again, unofficial. I want to put that out there. Number 8, Trinity versus number 9, Sunapee. Number 4, Portsmouth Christian versus number 13, Concord Christian or Belmont.
We can stop and chat about that one a little bit.
Boy.
Interlakes is going to be that 4 seed over Portsmouth Christian. They played each other twice. Interlakes beat them twice.
Oh, they have the same record. I totally missed that. Okay.
So Portsmouth Christian will be the 5 seed, and so Interlakes will have that four seed. Not to
Got to go fix this bracket now.
not to fix your unofficial DPP bracket, but
But
Interlakes
if
is
we're
in that
here to
4.
make things accurate,
Yeah.
Now I got to write this in again.
And realistically, in that tie between Concord Christian and Belmont,
Should go to Concord Christian, from what I understand.
they didn't play each other.
Right.
So then you basically have to go to wins against tournament teams, which is
Good luck.
always
It's
always fun
always tough.
to go back and forth. But I mean, they beat Sunapee, Franklin, Raymond, Kearsarge, and Mascoma. Kearsarge, Franklin, Mascoma, Conant. They have 1 win against the playoff team.
So who would, in your bracketology, who would get that tiebreaker? No
Looks
pressure.
like I'm gonna throw it out there at Concord Christian. Belmont didn't have a tournament win.
Interesting.
Unfortunately, they
Yeah.
beat Mascoma, Franklin, Mascoma, Kearsarge, and Conant, and all of those teams are at the bottom.
right?
So it looks like Concord Christian will
Should be there. Should be ahead of them.
They'll be trekking to Meredith to play the Lady Lakers.
Hang on one second. I'm redoing my bracket here.
Oh, and they lost 3-0. Yeah.
Who did?
Concord Christian against Interlakes.
All right. So Lakers fans, get ready for the second round.
Any given Wednesday. Any given Wednesday.
I'd say we all know that, right?
Yeah, and I mean Randy's a great coach. They're absolutely not looking past anybody at any point. They'll be ready for whomever they've got. But
Right. I'm saying fan base wise,
no, those fans are smart. They've been in the Randy system for a while.
It's important.
Yeah, I mean in their down year, in quotes, they still made it to the Final Four. So
Down year.
anything can happen.
That's true. That's true. Okay. So I redid the bracket here. Top 3 stay the same. Number 8, number 9, Trinity Sunapee at Trinity. Number 4, Interlakes versus number 13, Concord Christian. I left or Belmont, but
Right.
And then number 5, Portsmouth Christian hosting number 12, Hillsborough Deering. Number 7, Epping hosting number 10, Moultonborough. Number 6, Prospect Mountain hosting number 11, Farmington. That's what I got.
All right.
So, I mean, when we look at that bracket, first of all, for our Lakes region teams here, we kind of already touched on Interlakes. I think the Lakers could have them for sure. They seem like they've been a solid team. The couple times we've covered them. Obviously, you, Dan, could probably talk on them a little bit more because you're in that system, being an Interlake soccer coach.
Yeah, I mean, it looks from just looking at their schedule. I didn't watch any of the games this year, unfortunately, just the way it works. But they've been playing well. They're on a 2, 4, 6, 7-game winning streak going into the playoffs. They've lost to Epping, Farmington, Newfound, Somersworth, who, Somersworth and Newfound are some of the top teams. Epping is, a playoff team as well, it looks like, at the 7 spot. So, I mean, 3 of their losses are against, playoff
Quality
contenders.
teams.
And
Yep.
so, I mean, and it was early. I know that they had some newer players and they had dealt with a little bit of COVID at the beginning of the season. So that's a little bit of adversity, but they're playing well at the end of the year, and that's what you want.
Right.
So Randy will have them ready to go. There's no question about that.
But in Interlake's losses, they were never shut out.
No,
I mean, so they were competitive games.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah.
In that respect, so
And they'll have a little bit of home court advantage because our gym is very small.
yeah.
The roof is low, so if you're a team that hasn't necessarily come in and played volleyball in there, not that you're going to get a true bounce from the ceiling, but
it could
between
catch
some
off
of
guard.
between the stuff that's up there, I mean, those girls probably know it a little bit better
Yep.
than a team who may be coming in for the first time and have no idea.
Right.
I mean, they played Concord Christian at home, so they had at least a little bit of experience in there, but not as much.
Right. For sure. No, I think I've only seen the Lakers a couple times. They played Prospect Mountain where they beat them, and then they played Mascoma where they beat them. So Prospect was probably they're the only tournament team that we saw them play against, and they beat them, I think, 3-0, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
So it I mean, kind of like you, Dan, I only saw them twice, so I really don't know personally, but I think that they definitely have a fighting chance being fourth. They earned that spot.
Right.
Yeah, and I mean, if you look at some of their scores, I mean, they beat Moultonborough 3-0, 3-1. They lost to Somersworth 3-1. They lost to Newfound 3-2.
Yeah.
And that's the number 2 or 3 seed in
Yeah,
the division.
number 3
I mean,
seed, right.
That's a tough team the last few years.
Right.
They've won the championship, I think, the last 2 years in a row.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, if you're going to battle those, that team, you got a legit shot. You got a legit shot for sure.
Right. Yeah, no, definitely. So I think that should be a good battle. Good luck to Interlakes. For Prospect Mountain, hosting number 11 Farmington. Again, unofficial. But I think that could be also a good battle. But I've seen Prospect a handful of times this year, and I know the girls are probably going to hate me for saying this, but sometimes they come off as a little unpredictable. And that's again going back to that high school wild card, quote unquote.
Well,
but still, it doesn't make me feel confident necessarily. Like in numbers, they should get them.
But they didn't play.
They didn't play them at all,
Farmington,
which is shocking because that's right next
down the
door,
road.
and it used to be quite the rivalry not that long ago.
Right.
So it's a little bit kind of concerning that they didn't play each other.
That is a little concerning.
I mean, just based on the fact that they played some of the other teams that are decent trek away, but to not play the team 15 minutes away from you, there's whoever makes a schedule that's a question.
Yeah, no, for sure. I mean, I think, yeah, it's gonna be interesting to say the least. I mean, we've seen Prospect play games where they come out and they're, not literally this, but 25-0, 25-0, 25, like they just did not dominate and deny another team. But
and Farmington played well at the beginning of the season.
Mm-hmm.
They beat Trinity 3-0, Interlakes 3-2, Moltenboro 3-2, Belmont 3-0. Interlakes, Moltenboro, and I think you said Trinity are all playoff teams. And then they have
yes.
one win in their last looks to be 8 games. So when we're talking about momentum and wanting to play well going into the tournament, that's not necessarily a good sign of what you're looking for going in. And some of those are, a handful of those are 3-0, which isn't also what you want. But granted, it was, Messinic, Moltenboro, Somersworth. Those are good teams. So
Right.
you're probably going to get blanked by them.
Right.
I mean, that's not how you want it. That's when we talk playoffs, you're talking about backing in, and that's kind of a backing into the playoffs. So if I had to pick, I'm probably going to lean towards Prospect Mountain, who's been playing a little bit better of late.
Right.
I mean, they've battled some of the tough teams, but it's tough because that's those are two schools that are very close to each other. I'm sure they know each other pretty well. It used to be a rivalry not that long ago, like we talked about. So it should be a good first round.
No, for sure.
Luckily, it's a nice bus trip for either one.
Yeah, I think that game would happen at Prospect Mountain, so the Timberwolves would host. But I mean, talking about Prospect, their last 5 games, it's been 3 wins and 2 losses, and their only losses coming to Somersworth, who's number 2, and, well, this is a little surprising, at Epping, where they lost to them 3-2, Epping number 7, so a lower seed. But
now that we've talked about that, if they only played Epping once, not to throw your bracket again upside down, Epping and Prospect tied at 11-5, so Epping's actually going to jump Prospect Mountain. So now all that
You're
talk
gonna
about
make me rewrite this bracket again.
Yeah, now all that talk about Farmington and Prospect Mountain is now actually going to be Epping and Farmington.
So okay, hold on.
just based on the fact that they only played each other once, and that's the hard part when you have 2 teams at 11-5. You can't basically just go on the rankings of the standings on NHIA. Yeah. So here we are, unofficial. Epping owns tiebreaker over Prospect Mountain.
All right, so here, while I rewrite this again, tell me who would they play then? Prospect. Prospect would
who did you have Prospect Mountain or Epping playing?
That's a good question. I already deleted the bracket.
I mean, if you
got to redo it all.
Yeah, I mean, if you have Interlakes playing Concord Christian, so then you have Portsmouth Christian playing Hillsborough Deering potentially. Those are both 2 teams 5-11. That could change.
Right.
Then you're going to have Epping playing Farmington. So I think you're going to have Prospect Mountain hosting either Moltenboro or Sunapee. And it looks to me unofficially like they split. Of course they did.
Of course they did.
It's 1-2.
I'm going to say I'll wait to hit create on this bracket until
and that's part of the problem of trying to sit down on like today. I mean, granted, the state is sitting down today and going through all these brackets and figuring out what and who is going to play where, who makes, who's in, who's
and they're
out.
doing the same thing we're doing, except there's just a little more official at the end of the day.
They've got a lot more charts up and rolling.
I think Moltenboro will have the tiebreaker over Sunapee, 4 playoff wins to Sunapee's 3. So I'm going to go out on a limb and say Prospect Mountain will host Moltenboro Academy first round.
Moltenboro would be above Sunapee, you're saying?
I think Moltenboro has a tiebreaker over Sunapee, yes.
I'm going to write that in.
Because they played each other and split.
And then you said Moltenboro had
I have Moltenboro with 4 tournament wins, and I have Sunapee with 1, 2, 3. Yeah, so 3. 4-3, tiebreaker.
Oh, nope, that's not how you spell daring.
Well, it doesn't have to be official on your side.
Well, I was thinking about posting these on Facebook.
I wouldn't.
I wouldn't.
But putting them as, unofficial, like making it known. But
Bold
Yeah,
and
but
asteriskeded.
You're still going to get
bold and
you will get blowback
and-
if,
Oh,
if a
absolutely.
team doesn't end up in and
Oh, exactly. Yeah.
Well, that's why, like, here I'm putting Concord Christian or Belmont. Like,
Sure.
I'm making it very
Sure.
known. But okay, I see what you're saying, though. Okay, so take 3. Yes, so number 7 Prospect would host number 10 Sunapee.
Moltenboro.
Moltenboro.
Sunapee would then play.
Moltenboro.
you'll get there, guy.
Yeah, you'll.
That's fine.
Welcome to our life.
We're not gonna post
This is
these
what
at
this
all.
is what we do, and there's only 13 seeds getting it. I mean, we got to do this with boys and girls soccer at 16. There's a whole lot more, paths to go through, dive in. This is a deep dive into playoff talk.
Yeah, it is.
Jeez. All right. So Prospect would host Moltenboro. We're
Potentially.
thinking.
Potentially,
We're
yeah.
thinking.
That's what I'm thinking. Yeah.
We're thinking. And they played each other actually last week, where Prospect beat them 3-1. And they've only played them once. But that matchup wasn't bad. I actually went and spectated that one.
Over at the academy.
Yep. I went up there to, scout the gym, see if we could cover some basketball there, but also just watch that game. Besides, I had to go to Interlakes to drop off cones for somebody's soccer game. Don't over
Playing
there
favorites. I
I
see
know,
how it is.
right?
I see how it is.
playing favorites. We won't get into the details of why those favorites are happening, but
Marlboro's got a nice gym. They usually, their volleyball program in the past has been usually at the top. They're competitive. They play teams tough. I'm not sure who the coach is there anymore because I haven't watched a game over there in a while. They're usually coached well. They play hard. They're a typical Division III that's competitive, regardless of what they have numbers wise.
Right. No, they played hard against Prospect. Prospect played well against them. I don't remember what the exact numbers were. Actually, when I was sitting there watching the game, I was texting Coach Christie from here the updates because he wasn't there. So hang on, let me see if I can. So yeah, we had 25-18, 25-15, 25-16, 25-15.
Yeah, Prospect won 3-1.
Yeah, so it was all the sets were relatively close in numbers, and I don't know. But the thing is, like I said, for me, seeing Prospect a couple times I can't walk in there thinking that that's a guarantee.
No.
Because Prospect has, and again, not trying to upset the Prospect team here, but like they have their moments where they're really good, but then there are moments where sometimes they get in their own heads and their own way, and it's like no, just play your game. Play Bean in the middle, have her block that net, and then all of a sudden Bean's off the court, and it's like, wait, what happened? So, and granted, I'm not a coach, I'm not a psychic, so or a therapist or anything like that to be able to go, oh, this is what went wrong. But it just, I don't know, it's a little unnerving.
It's high school sports in a nutshell.
Yeah.
Because even if your team is really good, anything can happen.
Yeah.
You never know what mind state your athletes are coming into you.
Right.
And 10 years ago you never thought about it. Now it's like, did they have a good day at school? Did something happen in class? Is family life all right? Boyfriend girlfriend problems? You never know what state they're coming down to.
To that point, also is a lot of players this time of year, nagging injuries impact teams, and I don't know the extent of injuries in volleyball and stuff, but they get hurt.
Right.
And if you can't jump as high as you thought you were going to be able to in a tournament game, it changes things.
Right.
Yeah.
Couple inches. It's a game of inches for sure.
Well, and the atmosphere, it's a lot different, especially if you're a team that's expected to beat the lower seed. There's a little bit more pressure. You have a little bit of a bigger target. If things don't start off going your way right off the bat, how do you handle that? Is there a little bit of a snowball mentality? Is there time to compose? You got to slow the game down, regardless of the sport, and you got to get your kids collectively to follow along with that same mentality, because if not, a point like we talked about, that serve that you could have stopped at 4 is 8, 9, 10, 12, and
Right.
you're well behind the 8 ball at that point, and you can't really do a whole lot with it.
Right, for sure. I mean, yeah, and thankfully, like, unlike other sports, the coaches have the, like, other, like, you have football and volleyball who have the timeouts. But, like, with you guys, we talked about this in the past with soccer. It's like, well, there is no timeout in that soccer game, but using a timeout in a volleyball game is a great way to slow the momentum down. If you have a team going 6, 7, 8 serves, it's like, okay, hold on. Let me break that rhythm.
Yeah, you can stop that run a little bit.
Yeah. But at the same time, any good serving player serving can just step right back into that rhythm.
Right.
So it's, and you really don't know until you call the timeout, they step back on the court, and if they keep going, then darn it, didn't work.
A player's mental toughness matters.
Right.
And if you're that dialed in as a player, it doesn't matter what the opposing team is going to do. You will fight through whatever you need to fight through and go, okay, I'm ready to play again.
Right.
You thought you got me, but whack, here it is.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And then as a coach, if you call the timeout and the momentum doesn't change, you're like, oh, crap, there's nothing we can do now. You're just hoping that it hits the net or goes out of bounds or anything. Yeah, you're just like, we got to weather the storm here.
Right. No, and I don't know. I don't remember if in volleyball playoffs if they bring in 2 of the line refs as well, so they have 4 refs total.
Only in Final Four and
semis,
championship
yeah.
games. So they'll still have 2 for first and probably second round.
Because there have been a couple times this year where we've even shown it instant replay, and it's like they called that out, but that was in.
Sure.
Or the other way. And they're only
officials
human.
are human beings too, Devin.
I know, but I'm just saying,
Did
like,
you run up to the officials and go, hey, look, VAR?
that's a good way to
I
get
know,
thrown
right?
out of a gym.
Yeah.
That's a good way to get thrown out of a gym. But, like, my point being, though, is, like, it would suck for a team if you lost a point because of that, and thankfully for the semis, like you guys said, we think the semis and the finals have those line refs, which, by the way, those guys are crazy enough to stand there on the edge of the court when these players are throwing themselves around.
And realistically,
But still.
you've been all of these teams, probably Division I as well, have been dealing with the 2 official system all season long. Sure. So there have been the chances where you might lose that point that was actually in that they call out. You're also getting that point that was out that they called in.
Yeah.
It does have a weird way of
leveling itself off.
Yeah, exactly, of evening things up. You get used to it.
Have you had a 3-man system at all this year?
I have not had a 3-man once.
We didn't either.
Well, usually, Trinity is required for a while to have 3-man, and now that they're not in Division III anymore, so we don't play them, so you don't have that 3-man system.
Right.
Yeah.
So
Curious whether or not I know they couldn't because of the lack of officials for soccer. At least.
Exactly, yeah.
Tuesday, Thursdays were a nightmare for them.
Well, it's about 50, 55 games every Tuesday, Thursday, yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Between all 4 divisions, boys and girls, yeah. It's a mess.
It's a lot. It's tough.
Yeah.
So plug, if we're going to do an unofficial sponsor, we want to unofficially
Promote.
No, not
become a ref.
unofficially. We want to promote. Go become an official.
Yeah, regardless of sport, it pays well.
You got nothing to do this winter? Well, guess what? Plenty of basketball games
need 'em.
happening.
They
Absolutely.
desperately need them.
Even if you don't know the sport. No, wait, hold on. I'm sorry. Hold on. Back up.
Just have an interest in it. They'll teach you the rest.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Get the rule book. Do some light reading during Christmas time. Get ready for basketball season January.
Really in no time.
But yeah, so that's. Anyways, so yeah, for like Division III volleyball, I mean, we'll have Interlakes hosting, Prospect hosting. We think it's going to be Concord Christian at the Lakers, Molten Borough at the Timberwolves. We'll find out, obviously, Monday when the brackets come out. But, yeah, I mean, we'll have to see how it goes. Should be fun.
It'll be good.
But
And they start, Wednesday?
yes, Wednesday the 26th. All right, so we're getting closer and closer to the topics that these two want to talk about.
We're on the clock, Devin.
Don't worry. Hey, it's been 40 minutes so far. We're moving. This
Yeah.
is pretty good.
We've gotten through 2 sports already.
Yeah. See, I told everyone at home that Devin wasn't going to mess around this week. Devin's mistake is literally, so how are you guys? And that's like too open-ended of a question because then it's like an hour and a half later and it's like, so you're good.
Yeah, we had a rough week. There's no reason to recap that. We're good. We can jump right into tournament time.
All right, so talking about girls soccer here in Division 3, 16 teams, well, no buys. So everybody plays day one, which is
Tuesday.
crazy. It's crazy. Where are we? Yeah, so we're not going to, unfortunately, we're not going to touch on Division 2 at all because the only team we would cover for D2 is Laconia, and the girls.
I think they're out for sure.
Yeah,
right?
they're out, unfortunately. They played a good season, but definitely had that learning curve of going from D3 to D2.
Yeah.
Which was kind of expected, in any team, with any team, I should say. So for Division 3, like I said, 16 teams, and everybody plays each other day one. So the teams I got in right now, St. Thomas, Guilford, Stevens, Raymond, Hopkinton, Bishop Brady, Derryfield, Campbell, Trinity, Interlakes, Conant, Kearsarge, Monadnock, Hillsborough Deering, Fall Mountain, Belmont, or Prospect Mountain. And the only reason why there's the or there is because the state standings have been updated since the last day of regular season. But Belmont, I think, won against Berlin,
Yep.
and Prospect beat Interlakes. So in theory, they should all get equal points. But the question, of course, then falls to, did Fall Mountain win? Did Hillsborough Deering win? Or are they going to get slightly leapfrogged?
Right.
So we'll see.
It's going to be hit or miss.
Right.
With on the girls' side in Division 3. So
Right.
particularly, those last spots.
Well, Belmont should get in over Prospect because they have less losses, right? That's only 15 games. They played 16, correct?
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. So Belmont has a 6-8-1 record. Prospect's got 6-10-0. But right above them, Hillsborough Deering and Fall Mountain are currently tied.
Right.
So.
No, these standings are tough right now. They're very tough because you've got a bunch of 8-win teams and some 9-win teams in there.
Well, with Belmont winning Friday, they would improve to 7-8-1. Point wise, they would jump to 30, which would bump them up above Hillsborough Deering and Fall Mountain.
Yeah.
From a standings
just based on the
point
fact
of
that
view.
they have less losses, yeah.
Right, but even just from a point standpoint, and then and then when you start figuring out the rating, their rating should be a tad higher than those teams. So
now, does the NHIAA go off of points or ratings or everything?
it's the rating that determines your position, and then it has to go, obviously, head-to-head type stuff. So some teams, that choose to play 15 games sometimes, that impacts you.
The Derryfields of the world.
Yep. It definitely impacts where you potentially could end up.
Fair enough. Interesting. Okay.
So those bottom spots are going to be anybody's game.
Did Belmont girls beat Mascoma? They
Yes.
must
Yes.
have.
Yes.
Man, Cayman's got to get that game on there. Because that gives them 7 wins.
Right.
Yeah,
Well, and that's where I don't know if you remember a few years ago, we used to be able to do the verification for regular season records. As coaches, we had to verify, were these all the games we played? Were these the correct scores? Yes. And it was submitted. And we no longer do that.
it's been a long, I think I can count on one hand the amount of times I've ever done it.
Right.
It's just easier to have the AD do it because
Yeah.
they have access to that.
Yeah.
Right. Well,
So we'll see. We'll see what happens at the bottom.
yeah, I mean,
Of that. Did you do a bracket?
I
for
did.
That? Well
but
done.
Good luck.
I was going
man.
to say I
Good
did,
luck.
but I clearly
some-
didn't look too far into it.
There's some tough tiebreakers in here.
I would tell you that, if you're looking at Division III girls, what I would say from a bracket standpoint, it's not as much as I think we want to talk about potential tournament matchups and stuff. I just think you look at it from a conversation of, who do you think out of, D3 is, is going to move on in those potentially first round games, and your top 4 seeds should move on relatively easy.
Oh, I mean, St. Thomas and Guilford. Guilford has 1 loss. St. Thomas has a tie.
Yeah.
But Stevens and Raymond are 14-1-1. I mean, those
Right there.
that's you don't necessarily want to say that's the cream of the crop, but that's the cream of the crop. Like you don't win 14 plus games in a fluke. The next best teams have 9 and 10.
Right.
Like there's a significant
Yeah.
little step
Out of the
between
top
4 and 5.
Yeah, it's very different. And to be fair to 5, potentially right now, which is Hopkinton, they've been a powerhouse for the last 5 years in D3 girls, and the fact that they lost 4 games, I'm shocked.
Yeah.
But also knowing, what they've been up against, the bullseye, the target on them has been there for the last 3 years.
Oh, easily, yeah.
And so some teams obviously have caught them.
Right.
But we'll see what happens. But looking down, the teams that fall into the middle and or the bottom, like for both of us, in Interlakes and in Belmont, they've the Belmont girls have had some fantastic games this year, and then other games where they were competitive, but a mistake here, a mistake there has cost them, a handful of games.
Well, and the Interlakes team's they played really well in spurts, and their season they've had a really good season to this point. Obviously, they've won 1, 2, 3, 4. They've got 8 wins, and they have 2 ties to finish the season with Belmont and White Mountain. They lost a tough one at Guilford 2-1, and then unfortunately that overtime loss to Prospect Mountain.
Exciting.
Yeah, I mean, depending on who you're rooting for, yeah, absolutely.
Well, either way, an OT game is exciting regardless.
And they're not that fun to coach, but I mean, that was a tough one. Prospect Mountain played really well, and Interlake scored first, and it was a good game to watch. I feel terrible because it's not a great way to end a senior day, but I mean, they've played well. They're in the middle of the pack. It looks like they've dropped down a little bit further past the hosting range, which is unfortunate.
Yeah. Right now, on my little bracket here, if it was at all official, which it isn't, they would be 10th.
Or
correct. Ouch. Sorry, I mean, man. You're not wrong, but
that's the hard.
Ouch.
I mean, that's the hard part because they're 7, 6, and 3. And they're lumped into that group with like Derryfield, Campbell, Trinity, Conant all have 8 wins.
Right.
But because they have 6 losses, they're going to be ahead of some of those. But that's a tough one to break. I mean, they're going to travel wherever they go. They're going to travel a little bit because Derryfield, Campbell, Trinity, and Conant are not close.
Right.
For us in the middle of the state,
they're not?
those are not.
They're not?
Unfortunately, not close. I mean, I don't necessarily know the team I would pick out of that. Derryfield only played 14 games at 8 and 6, but you never really know who you want to play out of that group.
Right. Got some basketball happening here on the courts behind us, just so anybody at home, if they're like, where is that noise coming from? That's what that noise is.
It's all good.
It's pretty cool.
Miss from the top of the 3.
Yep. Wait.
Just getting that free.
Way to get the play-by-play going.
Just trying to get ready for that baspetball
just
season.
Trying to keep it real.
Yeah, exactly.
And then down on the third field over there, they got some baseball stuff going on. Man, multi-sport facility here, ladies and gentlemen. We love it. But yeah, I mean, it's tough to even sit here and talk even more about who might host, I mean, we know St. Thomas will host. We know Guilford would host.
Right.
Stevens, Raymond, Hopkinton, Bishop Brady. And I would say right about that point, it starts to get a little...
You get to that Bishop Brady line at 10 and 5, and then anyone from Derryfield, Campbell, Trinity, Interlakes, Conant could all potentially slide up or down because they're in that bubble of those teams are all pretty much similar to each other.
Right. Plot twist, Belmont is now number 1. We're going to invert the field, ladies and gentlemen. There's a racing term.
They might be happy with that.
They NHIA roll the dice.
Yeah.
Top 10.
I don't know if they'd be happy with that.
Top 10's going to invert. No, but I mean, yeah. So it's like I said, That's what we know. That at least the top 5 are going to host, maybe even guaranteed the top 4. For our New England, for our Lakes region teams, Guilford will probably host. Well, they're going to host number 15.
Whoever that is.
Yeah, I was
We
going to
don't know.
say.
You gotta-
Which we're just
throw
going to
it-
leave it at that.
Throw a dart.
Yeah.
Well, and I mean, realistically, if Belmont's in over Prospect, your Lakes region schools are Belmont, Interlakes,
Guilford.
Yeah.
That's really it. I mean, not that there's any. I mean, Newfoundland's on the outside looking in, Prospects on the outside looking in. That's the Lakes
it.
region in a nutshell, right there.
Right.
There's not that many girls teams in that area, just
Right.
based on numbers.
Right.
But
And Belmont would be on the road regardless.
Yep.
Prospect, if they sneaked in, would be on the road regardless. Newfound, I don't know if you just mentioned them. They would be out.
Yeah,
They're-
Newfound's out. They're
if
the only
there's,
other.
if there's one guarantee in the Lakes region,
Yeah,
there you
Newfound. It
go.
looks like Newfound and Prospect to be out.
Yeah.
But
Unfortunately,
but I'm just saying, like, even if Prospect did get in,
they would travel.
they would
yeah.
travel.
Yeah.
Belmont would travel. Lakers are the only question mark if they would travel or host. Guilford definitely going to host. And they'll host all the way through, to
First
the
2
neutral
rounds.
sites.
Yeah.
Yeah, and if they make it to the Final Four, they'd be the home team
Yeah.
in
Quote-unquote
the
home
final
team.
in the Final Four as well at 15-1.
And the
Yeah.
4:00 game.
Yes, they would probably play the first one. Yeah, that's how that usually works. At Laconia, right?
Yes.
Is that where
Yes. Although wait,
girls
some-
3-4 is at Laconia, and everyone else has got to travel an hour.
yeah, to Stello's Stadium.
Yeah. Nashville.
Nashville. Okay.
That's because everybody from Concord South thinks Manchester is the central part of New Hampshire. If you're going to take
taking your digs. I
if you're
see
going
how
to
it goes.
take a shot, you got to take it now. Concord is not the middle.
But usually, I thought that top part of the bracket. Oh no, just kidding. So Guilford would be the bottom part of the bracket. No, never mind. Back it up. Beep 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 beep. So
Did you hear a beeping noise?
I did. Yeah.
Right.
It's odd.
They're just on the other side. So St. Thomas is on one side, Guilford's on the bottom. So
no, I
they
know.
would,
But I was
going to
say usually the top half of the bracket has the late game, but that makes sense because Guilford would be on the bottom part of the bracket for semifinals. Because you mentioned the 4:00 game.
No, the number 1 team always plays the last game in the semis. So that'd be like a 6:30 start in the semis.
Yeah.
And Guilford's only loss was 7-3 to St. Thomas
Wow.
all year. And Guilford girls only gave up outside of the St. Thomas game 3 goals.
That was the
So 10 all year, 7 to the number
for
1
them.
seed
That
in
was
Division
I was
3.
gonna say that was our first game of the year. We came out, covered Guilford, and then after that they won ever since. And they were
Nice.
like, "Don't like they were just giving me a
Please
hard
don't
time."
broadcast our games anymore after the first.
Well, I showed up to another game and I'm like, "If you lose this, I'm never coming back," and they didn't. So I was
That's
like, "Okay,
fair.
we're good."
I mean, there's just so many. I mean, there's so many teams that are
Yeah.
absolutely incredible in that Division 3 at the top. Like, I mean, Stevens has got 1 loss and a tie, and they've only given up
Handful of goals.
4.
Yeah, Stevens.
4.
Stevens.
They lost 2-1 to St. Thomas.
Yeah, Stevens was a question mark in my opinion earlier this week because they moved down from D2 to D3, and then I did my research
but
and
that
they
wasn't-
got moved because
They
of
were
enrollment.
moved.
Yeah,
They didn't petition to move
And
down.
they've tied Hopkinton 0-0. Like we just talked about, Hopkinton's usually a power in Division 3 for,
Yep.
either sport, boys and girls soccer. They're usually pretty solid. So, I mean, those teams at the top, Raymond tied St. Thomas, lost to St. Thomas 2-0 the second time. Like those are,
Those are good games.
yeah, I mean, 2, 4, 6, 7 goals all year. I mean,
It'll
that
be
one,
interesting.
though, not that you want to overlook the rest of the tournament, but if you're the tournament people who make it, St. Thomas, Guilford, Stevens, Raymond, if they're in the Final Four, those are 4 teams you want to watch
Right.
play
Yeah.
and battle it out.
everything worked.
Yep.
Everything worked.
Yeah.
And the beauty of them being in Laconia is we can go watch those.
We're right around the
Oh
corner.
yeah, exactly.
But you guys would still have practice going on, right?
I go
hopefully.
watch those games.
Hopefully.
This time of year,
You guys
I-
don't make it past round. Oh,
Well,
that's not where you're going with that.
my comment, Devin, would be
Well, they're playing at night. They'll have lights, so you
We're-
can go and look. You can go and watch
that's
that.
what we
and
do.
still
But we
practice
also,
it.
we change our practice times as you get to playoffs because
Yeah.
that first round game is going to be a 3 o'clock start.
Right.
Yep.
So we'll practice at 3 o'clock now
This
instead
way,
of our
lighting and all.
traditional 4 o'clock practice.
Yeah.
So what
You
so
guys will
my-
make it to
my-
the semis and finals. You
My,
got this.
my point would be,
Backing up over here.
just
Just
only
ignore
play one
me.
game, guy.
Yeah.
And so from being able to get out and watch tournament games while your team is still in the tournament is difficult.
Right.
But the fact that the girls' games are right there in Laconia, it would afford us the opportunity to. I'd be able to catch the second half of that first semifinal game, and
And then the entire second one, yeah.
the
Right.
second game. So
Well, and looking, and like we talked about last week, not that schedule matters. You have to play who you play, and you beat
Right.
who you're supposed to beat. Guilford, of the 4, probably hasn't played they probably have the weakest schedule of
Right.
those top 4, because they played St. Thomas the first game of the year, then they beat Hopkinton 4-0, and then they didn't play the Raymonds, the Stevenses. They didn't play those top teams like the Raymond and
right.
the St. Thomas did.
If the brackets go according to the seeding,
Guilford will be on the good side of it.
Guilford will be on the good side of it, and the aspect that Guilford is traveling all of 3 minutes,
To Laconia.
and Stevens
Yep.
is making.
Well,
All those teams are making St. Thomas.
St.
Stevens, Raymond,
Thomas, Stevens, Raymond, yeah.
But
Hopkinton,
Stevens-
if they made it that far,
Stevens
yeah.
has got the furthest,
That's quite the trek, yeah.
travel. So that matters. That impacts teams to a degree.
Yeah. Yep.
And that time of year where it's colder, those bus rides are
I was gonna say I just gotta chill.
not that enjoyable.
No, not at
What are you
all.
talking about? School buses are great.
Oh, they're fantastic.
A lot of fun
of
coming
fun.
from the guy who's going to host in the first round.
Well,
And the other guy who has a space heater in the production trailer.
Exactly.
we traveled to Berlin this past Friday, so we've done some serious.
You got your
travel.
mileage.
Yeah, he got the miles in. That's fine. I'll give him that.
But no, so we'll have to. I mean, like I said, there really is no, or like actually Dan said, there really is no way to sit here and say, oh, so and so's going to host so and so, things like that, because there's just so much in the middle of this bracket that's just a giant question mark.
It's not even worth
right.
trying
Like,
to put
I was
it
gonna say,
into
I
an
can
unofficial, just based on the fact that like those teams 6 through 13, you could coin flip. Probably even if Belmont has 7 wins at the 16 spot with Fall Mountain and the other one there. I mean, those are coin flips.
Right.
Who beats who and who's ahead of who and all of that. So I mean,
Yeah.
we could
It'll be
deep dive it, but I mean they're all in. They're all
Yeah.
in for sure. You don't have to worry about it. They'll be practicing either today or tomorrow to get ready. But
Yeah.
at the same time, like that's a tough one to try to pick and choose who's going where, who's got who.
Yeah, no, we're
That
not
one's-
gonna.
that
I was
one's
gonna say I
tough.
got the bracket in front of me, what I wrote in there, but I'm not even gonna entertain it.
I wouldn't. no.
So your prelims for them are on Tuesday, and your quarters are on Friday, and then semis next Monday, the 31st. Happy Halloween! And then the finals will be the following Friday. So that's a gap.
Did them Fridays. Interesting.
Monday and
Yeah.
Friday, from semis to
Oh,
finals.
really?
That's weird.
It's a stretch.
I mean,
Well-
you got 3 days in between for
So,
practice. So okay,
well,
maybe not.
and they're playing what Final Four and a championship at Laconia.
Yeah,
Yeah, so I mean, you could very well have field hockey there. You could have some
field
other
hockey will be done this week.
this week. You could very well have Division 4 girls are probably there as well.
Yeah,
So you're going to have a couple of
Laconia's
tournaments.
got a
Yeah.
couple busy schedule.
Laconia's got a stranglehold on hosting Final Fours and championships. They did it right, man. I'll tell you, they did it right.
They did.
If you're looking to get an athletic complex, those guys in Kingswood are the ones you want to take a peek at because they did it the right way.
Not Interlinks. You want to get your lights plug in now? You do it once a week.
I mean, we can. We'll beat we'll beat that until it's gone. But yeah, I mean, as like we said, we've talked about changing practice times. I mean, we won't practice on the turf because we're not playing a turf school, but
Right.
we're going to practice at Prescott, no lights. Our girls are going to have to practice somewhere. Our football team's got another regular season game, so there's still
which you can watch on DPPG.
there's still there's still 5 teams in 2 fields you got to kind of accommodate now.
Yeah.
It's dropped a little less because middle school's over, but you're probably going 3:30 to 5:30.
Yeah.
So
Hey, can I do a quick shout out? Speaking of middle school,
Oh boy.
sure can. Let's give it.
Belmont Middle School
I heard
won
about
won the Guilford tournament Saturday in a PK shootout
Against
over Guilford.
Oh, I was going to say Gilmington.
Over Guilford. Over
Congratulations.
Guilford. They are a happy group of young men.
There's some talent coming into the high school, I am sure.
Yes.
It's an embarrassment of riches over there.
There's some very nice players.
There's something in the water in
coming
Belmont area.
But
Iron.
in all seriousness, congrats to Dan Jeffrey and the boys there at the middle school. It's they had a great season, and it was fun to get down and watch some games down there. Brought the varsity boys down there last week to watch first half of a game, and it was fun.
Good.
That's awesome.
Congratulations.
Yeah, congrats.
Thanks.
So real quick, we did kind of talk about field hockey in the beginning. Just a quick note on that. Semifinals, before we talked about the boys. I know you guys are like itching to talk about the boys.
Chomping at the bit to get to it. Yeah.
But we've reached the 1 hour mark, so you're going to have a full hour to go talk.
A full hour. Football's on at one guy.
I know, right?
Hey,
it's a little longer. I mean, there's a TV right here in the background. Well, I'll sit right here.
oh, gee. I was going to say F1's on at 3 from Austin. Got to watch that.
I've got a busy day.
I know.
I might even get some cage swings in while I'm here, you know?
NASCAR's got race at 2:30.
Who?
The Yankees aren't they playing tonight at 7?
They
7
are.
o'clock, they'll get swept by the Astros.
No. Here's the comeback. And then
it's only happened once, and the team I absolutely despise did it. It'll never happen again.
And then the Bills are playing at 8 o'clock tonight, just in case anybody was wondering.
Good football.
Nobody
Good
here,
football
I think,
tonight.
is wondering
Pats,
that. But
Pats are on tomorrow night.
oh, it's unfortunate. I'll be busy.
Monday Night Football.
So anyway, semifinals for the field hockey game, by the way, this Tuesday in Exeter, and the finals are next Saturday at Bedford. So
Cool.
field hockey will be done before you guys are even sniffing, semifinals.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Okay, so
it's a wrap.
here's
All right. Well done.
Ladies and gentlemen, thanks so much for tuning in. Good. Congrats to Guilford Boys Soccer in the state championship, and we are.
Oh, wow, jeez.
Oh wait, hold on. Sorry, was I jumping ahead?
A little bit.
Foley's about to drop it, spike his headset, walk out.
All right. So
It's a good thing. I'm gonna have to be careful when I say stuff like that in the live video because we'll have video.
You'll have video,
evidence.
video proof, yeah.
Video
absolutely.
proof of Foley kicking my butt over under the table, just kick me.
and I have to throw a right hook. So,
So this one, honestly, looking at it, I would say, and you guys might be able to help me here, but I would say who's in is in. Berlin is pretty well solidified over White Mountains.
correct.
And everybody up is in, and I don't know if the positions are accurate. I mean, I don't see many ties other than Fall Mountain,
there are-
Hopkinton.
There are some teams that could float up or down from basically Winnisquam, Kearsarge, St. Thomas
They could jostle
manipulate
around.
a little bit there.
They still have games that haven't been posted yet.
Right.
Of course they do.
Well, just keeping
Well,
everybody on their toes.
you got.
everybody on their
It's
toes.
safe to assume that Winnisquam beat Monadnock. I think they did, if I saw it correctly. I think they beat them 5-1 to end the season.
Yes, that's what I heard too.
It's not posted on the Monadnock one either.
Right.
Go figure. But I think they did, so that would put them at 12-4. Kearsarge has got 16, St. Thomas 16, Hillsborough is 16. So
Did Winnisquam play Brady this year?
I
think
don't
they
think
did.
so.
Nope. No, they did.
Did they?
They did. Second to the last game of the season, they
Oh, they lost 6-0.
six,
Yeah.
yep. So Brady will finish ahead of Winnisquam.
I'm not rewriting my bracket.
That's fine. You don't have to, because if you wrote it according to the way you should have, Winnisquam was behind Brady anyway.
Oh,
Yeah, because Brady will have less losses than Winnisquam, regardless that they're
Right.
12-4. So Winnisquam will be ahead of Kearsarge, but behind Brady. Yeah.
Right.
right.
So for the most part,
This is a
it'll-
nice bracket. I mean, this is a nice grouping. Nobody tied anybody. There's no head-to-heads here to break. We
Thank you,
pretty much-
Division III boys soccer, for keeping it.
Yeah, we do our best to
Straightforward.
make it easy for everybody.
we're here to help Devin.
Yeah, appreciate it.
That's how we went through this. That's what I told my players all year. Guys, You got to take care of Devin.
Keep Devin in mind. Keep Devin in mind.
You got to do what you got to do.
Keep Devin in mind. So then should I go through what I got for places and stuff?
Yeah, we can go through and talk about some of them.
I was going to say, you guys have a better grip of where people would go and the dumpster fire that is Division III girls soccer right now. So as far as seedings, the teams are doing well.
Yep.
I got to,
save yourself.
They're not.
Yeah, take yourself out of that hole there, buddy.
Hold on a second. Beep, beep, beep. So, but no, so let's talk about this because I think, I don't know how this bracket's going to necessarily go for round one. Like I said, they're the same as the girls, so 16 teams make it. Everybody plays on day one. There is no byes. And here's what I got for that first game on the 26th. Oh, nope. Sorry. Hold on. Where am I? Where am I? There I am.
You're right here.
So, yeah. So wait.
Oh.
Wait a minute.
Well, so here we are talking about how good Division III did on trying to make things not difficult. We have Hopkinton and Fall Mountain both tied at 5-9-2. They played each other once.
Yes.
And they tied 0-0. So then you go to wins against tournament teams. Hopkinton beat Mascoma. And that's it.
So Hopkinton
Actually,
did Fall Mountain beat any?
So Fall Mountain also has one win against a tournament team. They beat Kearsarge. The rest of their wins are all bottom of the barrel. So when we're sitting here looking at who Campbell may potentially get, it could be either Fall Mountain or Hopkinton, and then Mascoma basically gets the other one.
Yeah. Well, if you're Hopkinton, if I'm Zipke, I'm going, all right, I would love to play Mascoma.
Oh yeah, you want to at all costs. Just basically, soccer is very similar to what the spring was like. You don't want to go after the two top dogs. You wanted, like in the spring, we wanted to avoid Monadnock, White Mountain. This fall, I wanted to avoid Guilford, Campbell. I'll take anybody else after that.
Yeah.
I think 3 through the rest of it are all beatable teams. Those are teams that you want to be competitive with.
Are they beatable?
I mean,
who is?
Just saying.
I zoned out for a second. I'll admit.
Some of those teams beat us pretty good, but I would take those teams over going to Guilford or Campbell. Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. So yeah, if you're Zipke at Hopkinton, he's hoping for the nice little trip over to Mascoma.
Yeah.
That's just right up by 89, right?
Yep.
Nice road.
Through Lebanon, yeah.
Nice little
for them,
trip.
it's not a bad ride.
Right.
But
for everybody else,
Hopkinton also beat Mascoma early in the season.
Yeah.
So there's a little bit of confidence there.
Right. So I mean, other than that, I mean, those are the only ones that are tied that are basically coin flip.
Right.
Could go one's 14, one's 15.
Right.
Yeah, so the first round for the boys took me a second to find the date, but the first round for the boys is Wednesday the 26th, second round is Sunday the 30th.
Oh.
Both home of the higher seeds.
Man, those Sunday tournament games are fantastic for Division III.
Cutting into my racing schedule. Come on, man.
2:00 Sunday.
Could we move that to noon?
No.
The times can change, dates cannot.
Right.
Right. Both schools have to agree.
I had a player not argue with me, but basically say, no, the coach said we're going to move our date. I'm like, that's not how that works.
Yeah.
I'm like, maybe you're going to move a time, but date you're not moving.
No,
unless like Mother Nature gets involved.
Yeah, unfortunately, we had an instance. The only time I've ever been in a quarterfinal, we played Hopkinton at NHGI on a Sunday, and I had a couple of players who could not go due to religious things that they were just were unavailable. And with battling injuries, and then that being on a Sunday, we struggled mightily. Yeah. So it's an unfortunate thing that you have to deal with. But if you know somewhat in advance, Wednesday to Sunday, you might be able to finagle some of it. But Sunday games are tough.
Yeah.
Right. So day one, opening day of the playoffs for boys Division III. I got Guilford hosting Berlin.
Yep.
Nice travel for Berlin.
Kearsarge hosting St. Thomas. Hold on. Guilford number 1, 16 Berlin. Number 8 Kearsarge hosting number 9 St. Thomas. Number 4 Belmont getting blown out by number 13 Derryfield. Sorry, was that out loud?
He said blowout.
Blowout.
He did say.
Hey, you know what? You've always been trying to play Derryfield anyway. So here you go. Get him in the first round of the playoffs.
No,
we scrimmage them. They're good. They're a decent team. I mean,
are.
he does definitely a decent job at Derryfield. He has for years, but
So number 4 Belmont hosting number 13 Dairyfield.
Correct.
There's the actual words I meant to use. I got my, phrase
Have a
mixed up.
seizure?
Yeah, it was weird. Number 5 Conant hosting number 12 Interlakes.
12s beat 5s all the
I was
time.
gonna
Let's
say
go.
let me rephrase
say.
that. Number 5 Conant getting upset by number 12 Interlakes.
Calling it now on Sunday afternoon.
That's a good call.
See, oh wait, so you guys, wow, you would actually go to Belmont on Sunday.
That's what we're hoping for.
Yes, I'm
would-
picking up. I'm catching.
I would love a
right before the
rematch.
game, right?
Oh my
it's-
God!
We'll do
Could
it on
you-
the field.
Yeah. Well, we can't do it from the field. But
I mean,
Sure we can.
we could do a post game one.
we could
Sure.
we could do it from the street outside the school.
There we go.
But then number 2 Campbell hosting number 15 Hopkinton, which I just realized I spelled Hopkinton wrong, so I'm glad I'm not releasing these brackets. Number 7 Winnisquam hosting number 10 Hillsborough Deering.
That should be a good game.
Yeah.
I played
Another
I played
good one.
Hillsborough last week. They're a very solid squad.
Yeah, they are.
Another first-year head coach, though. Playoffs or first-year head coaches are. I hate
Terrifying.
In
to
abundance.
say it. I mean, it's tough when you get there in your first year. You think everything's going really good, and you never know. I mean, Winnisquam's their coach has been there for a few years now. They've been playing some pretty good soccer, so that's a good one. That's a good one there.
Number 3 Mascoma hosting potentially number 14 Fall Mountain. By the way, Campbell might host Fall Mountain. Just realized that.
Yeah,
one.
coin
Yeah,
flip
the coin
there,
flip there.
basically, yeah.
And then number 6 Bishop Brady hosting Moose, number 11 Prospect Mountain.
That'll be a
Coach
good game.
Coach Porto.
That'll be another good game.
Yeah,
So where-
that
There's
first
some really good
where-
those first round games are.
So where are we
good.
going? We're going to Guilford. That's it. Darn it. All
Yeah,
right.
because where's Prospect going?
Bishop Brady.
Bishop Brady. You don't want to track down a Concord?
It's not bad, but I've never covered a game there before. So do you think I should
I
make the
mean-
first game?
That game's going to be a good game.
If I was going to do it, I would go to Bishop Brady. I would either because you're not going to Belmont, you're not going to Winnisquam. Guilford, you already have that in your back pocket.
We'll see them in the next round.
And that's, I mean, you hate to say it because Berlin, has played well of late, but they've played Guilford already once. It was 6-0. Guilford's cream of the crop. They're going to be very good. I mean, that Brady Prospect Mountain game will probably be one of the better ones in Division III in the first round.
Right.
I would pick that one because it's going to be competitive. It could go either way. The Guilford game, you're just going to sit there and be pressing goal.
The other good first round game, and I don't know if you go to Kearsarge
I haven't been up there yet.
at all, but that Kearsarge St. Thomas.
We played both
that'll
of
be
those teams.
Another good
Yep.
first round game.
Two other first year head coaches in their first playoff game.
St. Thomas is always a good school. Kearsarge is as well.
You
so
might
that's
actually
fine.
you could probably very rarely. Not that, I mean, it's a trek from Concord to Kearsarge, but that Kearsarge game is probably going to be played at like 6 o'clock at night, because that's what they did last year when they played Laconia. That's when they played a
moved
night.
it to night.
They
Moved
played
to
a
the
night
night
game
game.
under the lights. Yeah, so that one could very well be changed from 3 o'clock.
How far is Guilford to Kearsarge?
40 minutes.
Yeah,
So-
I mean, you could go Guilford to
I was
Kearsarge.
going to say no. So I'll send a crew to Guilford, and then I'll go to Bishop Brady, and might as well do a little stretching of my business here, right?
There you go, right?
I mean,
we covered 4 games in 5 hours on Friday. We can do this.
I think you can do
Yo,
this.
we got it.
The other interesting thing is with St. Thomas, they were a dominant team at home because they play on turf,
Yep.
Right.
and that turf field basically is an advantage.
It's
to them.
quick. Yeah, it's very quick.
But and they struggled a little bit on the road. So
Right.
for them to go
To
to
Kearsarge,
Kearsarge is going to be a battle.
playing on grass.
Yep,
They didn't play each other in the regular season either, so that'll be a good one.
that'll be a really good game.
Well, Tuesday we got like 2 games, and then Wednesday it's going to be like 7.
Yeah, and that's a tough 8-9 matchup
Right.
in any season.
Cougars
'cause-
versus the Saints.
But then
But you're right.
You
Regardless,
think about, all right, Guilford's going to get
One of those two.
one of those 2 teams, and that sets up a very interesting.
I was going to say potentially Guilford. You got to put that.
We can go in
That's
quotes
gonna be-
potentially.
potentially. Yeah, I was
gonna say.
I mean, you can pen that one in that Guilford's
Having
making
just
it.
played Berlin Friday, I don't see Guilford having
Could
a whole lot
you
of.
could you imagine that upset though? The party in Berlin. We'd hear the Canadian
it.
border all the
Listen,
way down
they're-
here.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I would love to see it.
But Berlin's goalkeeper is phenomenal.
Right.
Phenomenal. The kid against us Friday made some of the more impressive highlight reel saves against us, and so if the defense in front of him can limit really solid looks from Guilford, they're a team that can stick around. I don't think they have.
Well, Guilford will have they'll have 8 guys in that 18.
Yeah.
Real more often than not, so
it's gonna be tough.
It's gonna be a tough one. Plus, like we talked about a couple weeks ago, Berlin's got a bus ride everywhere they go for the most part. So if it's a 3 o'clock start coming from Berlin, they're leaving at like 10 o'clock in the morning. Like it's a tough atmosphere to drive down, and Guilford's probably dyeing their hair blonde as we speak right now, Sunday afternoon. Like it's
team speed
it's a tough atmosphere, man, and Guilford's really good. And if you want to look, I'll be rooting for Berlin for sure, but at the end of the day, like Guilford's Guilford. They beat both St. Thomas and Kearsarge 3-1 in the regular season. So those were competitive games for Guilford, but they were also coming off scoring 20 goals in their last 3 games.
Right.
So there's still blood in the water, and now that the 16-0 means nothing, they were just waiting for October 26th to roll around.
Yeah, no, it should be fun. Guilford, it's ultimately, as I said a couple weeks ago, it's their championship to lose, honestly.
Yeah.
I mean, they were.
I'd agree with that.
They played incredibly well against us in the first half. The second half was, we saw a lot of their bench guys, but I was missing 4 starters, so I don't necessarily know if it would have been 8-0 if I was at full strength, but 5 or 6 at least, absolutely.
Right.
I mean, they're very good top to bottom.
Yeah, for sure. Well,
I would like the opportunity to play them again. How about that?
Well, that'd be in the Final Four.
Yeah, that'd be in the semifinals.
Yeah,
that'd be in the semifinals. Yeah. Which that game, by the way, is that's volleyball.
Wednesday.
Yeah, Wednesday the 2nd at Manchester Memorial.
Yep.
You guys had the 4 o'clock start, so you get out of school.
What day is that?
No, you would have the 6 o'clock start. Sorry, Wednesday.
The
2nd
of November. Wow, jeez, it'd be snow on the field at that point.
It'll be balmy.
Yeah, 6 o'clock start, right? Is that what we said? 6:30.
By 6 o'clock, it'll be
about 27 degrees, windy.
It'll be 65.
You're very optimistic.
Are you going to Florida for this game? Wait a minute.
Doesn't matter.
We're moving to the.
I mean, it's cold for both teams.
Yeah.
I mean, the weather isn't great as the person who's standing on the sideline, but for the other team, I mean, the other team's got to battle through it too.
I think it would be great weather for that night.
It will.
I feel bad for my cameraman, but I'll be fine.
I always look at it as when you get to those games, you really don't think about the weather a whole lot because
the adrenaline kicks in.
Yeah. I mean, you can only do so much with it. Yeah.
Just got to play.
Just got to play.
Well, just got to get there first.
But
it's a long road to get there.
To win 3 games or 2 games to get to the Final Four, it's tough.
Yeah.
Quarterfinal games are tough. There's always something weird that happens in those. First round games are tough.
Yep.
I mean, we're going to Conant. That's a long bus ride for us.
Yeah,
that'll be a 12 o'clock departure. Whew. That's a non-work day for me.
Hey, get to sleep in, right?
No, it's a playoff game. You're wired for sound at 7 o'clock in the morning, ready to go. The guys better be. I know I will be.
Making your lineup while you're drinking your coffee.
I'm just hoping to be healthy at this point going into it. I mean, we talked 2 weeks ago about, fortunately for us, we haven't had to deal with a whole lot. I mean,
Sorry for that fake wood in the trailer.
I mean, I had 5 guys at the end of the season who couldn't play that started 14 of our 16 games this year. Right. So, I mean, we battled.
That matters.
I mean, when we played Guilford, we played the 1-seed Guilford and the 3-seed Mascoma the last week of the season. So we played playoff teams going in. If we're full strength, I don't think Mascoma beats us 6-0. I think that's a close competitive game. Guilford probably still beats us 5 or 6-0. Yeah. So you're playing the teams you want to play, but I mean, 10 of our 16 were against top 12 teams in the division.
Right.
So I mean, those guys they've seen everybody that they're going to see.
Right.
That's going to be in the the Final Four, the championship game. Like, there's not going to be a team in the finals that we didn't play unless Campbell pulls it off.
Right.
Like there's going to be some teams there that we've played once or twice.
Yep.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Well, like for us, like we didn't see Dairyfield this year, so for us, they're an anomaly.
Are they a turf school?
It depends on the day for them because, like you, they have a grass field that is beautiful,
Yeah.
but it's like yours, massive.
Yeah.
We played on it, I don't know, 5-6 years ago, and it literally is. It's 80 by 120.
Oh, it's as big as you can get it. Yeah.
And that was the year Dairyfield they won it that year. We were beating them 2-0, and in the second half, and we gave up an own goal, and then same guy who gave up the own goal got beat on an outside back, and kid turned the corner, and
It was gone,
within
yeah.
blink, the game was tied, and then they scored like 5 minutes later to win it, and we were like, okay, we had them. We had them.
Yeah, and their coach, we scrimmaged them before the season started on their way back from their little
Up
outing,
north,
their
yeah.
little up north outing trip and whatnot. And I think he said they were missing some guys. We're a completely different team then as we are now,
Yeah.
as they probably are
Yep.
too. But we battled. It was,
Yep.
I mean, we're basically 12th, 13th. We're neck and neck. We're pretty similar programs right now. I mean, they're coached extremely well.
Yeah.
So they'll be ready to go. But they've got a couple of guys that are really, really good players.
Yeah.
I mean,
They can play.
you've got that prep feel there, you know. So
Yeah.
you've got a little bit that you can choose from.
Sure.
It was fun for us because they have a guy who's a senior now that actually lives in our town, in our school district. And so we had some senior guys who were battling with him for the first time in high school because he left after 8th grade. So it was fun to battle with Dugan a little bit and see the guys kind of, competitive trash talk with him
Sure.
a little bit. But I mean, they go as he goes. He's one of their
Yeah.
better players, so he's in the middle of the field. So they'll be a tough team
Yeah.
to play in the first
Yeah.
round.
I'm taking
Absolutely.
notes. It's okay.
Oh
Taking
yeah,
notes.
I mean, absolutely. If you're not taking notes, what are we doing?
Right. Well, you guys draw Conant,
Yeah.
and they've historically in high school soccer have not been very strong,
Yep.
and they've turned it around this year.
Well, yeah, and I looking back at last year, they were another top 4 or 5 seed team last year too. So you don't want to look and be like, oh, see who they played. They didn't. I would say nobody's played as a tough of a schedule as we have. They
Right.
definitely aren't in that same caliber of schedule.
Right.
But you don't make a top 4 or 5 team on accident.
No.
So you've got to beat the teams you got to beat. So
Yeah.
it'll be tough. It'll be a tough one for sure.
Yeah. It'll be. Well, we're rooting for you.
Thank you. I'm rooting for you guys too. I'd like a nice little Belmont quarterfinal. That'd be a nice.
That'd be a fun
That'd be a
one.
nice little trip. That's for
Yeah.
sure.
Hopefully it will rain the night before and it's got to get moved. To
I
the
know.
turf
Yeah,
eventually.
we can discuss it. You haven't played a turf game all year. You want to come to our
No.
place for quarterfinal?
Maybe
You can host. I'll go on the far side.
we'll go.
I'll get Belmont Fire to come.
We'll go to
drain their
Laconia
trucks.
for Wednesday, and then no. I want one more game. I want 2 more games on our regular field. It's beat up. Our field is.
Oh, I bet.
it is
Absolutely.
beat.
Regular field,
between
video.
boys and girls playing there and battling to the end. I mean,
It's
that's got to be in tough shape.
We've stayed off it.
Is that
outside
just a
games.
game? Is that just a game field for the most part?
It's been just a game field for the last 2 weeks
Yeah.
because we've destroyed, not destroyed, but we practice hard and we practice on
Well, and
the
it's at
upper
the
field.
and it's on the
And-
bottom of that hill, so any rain or water is going down to it, so you're not
Right next to the
necessarily.
swamp too.
Yeah, I mean you're
Well,
not.
You figure last week, Tuesday was our senior night, and we have Raymond coming to us, and they're a physical team. They play hard, and it rained all day up until noon
Yep.
and stopped. And I'm out walking in the field around noon, going, okay, it's damp. It's not mucky,
Yeah.
but it's damp. But by halftime of our game, it's gonna be mucky.
Yeah, it's gonna be gross. Yeah.
And it was, guys slipping and sliding all over the place, and so on. After the game Tuesday, we went and strictly played up above, just so we
Left
didn't
field.
tear
Dry
it
out.
up. And we know our girls played there on Friday, and I haven't seen the field yet. So
Well, and that's always difficult at this point for anyone who has a grass field.
yeah,
And fortunately enough for you guys, it's only soccer on there.
right.
Right.
I mean, so like we're fortunate enough that we have turf. I don't know where Conant plays. I would assume. I mean, they probably.
I'm pretty sure it's grass.
I would think it's grass, and they're probably a little bit of a larger school. So I don't necessarily know if they're a football school as well.
I don't know.
Without having to check, without looking, but I mean, they
I got
probably play. They probably play multiple sports on that field, so it could very well be in a little bit rougher of shape at this point in the season. And who knows? Maybe they're not fortunate enough to have another practice field, so it's a practice and game field. So it might be
Really
in a
beat
little
up.
bit, on the beat up side.
They would if they have anything other than soccer, it'd be field hockey, but there's no football.
No football.
So they have field hockey and soccer and volleyball and golf.
Yeah,
but-
I don't know if I've ever been. I might have been to Conant once. It's a nice little trip.
It is. I've only been there for basketball, and we've never played Conant.
I've never.
Ever.
So this year was the first time we'd ever played Hillsborough Deering,
Yeah.
and now we're going to Conant for the first time ever program. So it's nice to switch it up and get a little bit different teams. I mean, I'm glad I don't have to play Guilford, Campbell, Hopkinton. Those are the last few years when we've been in the playoffs. That's who we've drawn. So
Right.
it's not. It's fun, but it's not that fun because it's short-lived. You want to be in there a little bit longer than
Exactly.
one game. You don't want to be the team that's there for just an extra game, and then
Right.
you go home and everyone's ready for basketball as soon as the bus pulls out of the parking lot.
No,
Yeah.
and that we talk a lot about this, mentally preparing, for a tournament. You've
Yeah.
worked. We should be the 4 seed going into the tournament, and we've worked incredibly hard over the course of the season. And the last thing you want is to go, well, all right, it was a fun playoff game. All right, we'll see you guys next year.
Exactly.
That's,
See you in August. Yeah.
that's not what these guys have worked towards.
No, and you don't want to have. You want to have a fun regular season. You want to be successful, but at the end of the day, like this is why the kids play. This is why we come to coach.
Yep.
Like it's fun, but it's a lot more enjoyable when you have multiple playoff games that
We have
you're
the
playing. In.
opportunity, and as
Yeah.
I'll say it forever. We have the opportunity to host 2 playoff games, and we explained this the other day. But when we started the season, we do a little. It ends up being kind of funny, but at the end of the day, we do these little steps in our locker room, and if you start at the bottom and you work your way up, the top step is your 12th step.
Yep.
And so it's not a 12-step program, Devin. But
I wasn't going to say anything.
yeah, but it's one of those things. If you can get to the 12th step, you've traditionally in Division III soccer, you're going to host not one but
2.
generally
Yeah.
2 playoff games. And so as we watched this step grow over the course of the season, you were like, okay, we're on track. Okay, we can do it, but we've got to take care of X, Y, and Z in order to achieve it. You've achieved it now. Now is when you got to do the work. Now is really when it matters. When we've had a couple of light practices last week just to A, let guys heal, and B, take some of that stress.
Did you guys have one game last week?
We played Tuesday, Friday.
Did you have Tuesday, Raymond?
Raymond.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which expected kind of a bloodbath, and it wasn't. I mean, we actually took care of business early.
Well, and we were in the same boat. So Guilford obviously, blew our doors off as expected, unfortunately. But it wasn't overly physical, so it wasn't bad. And I was expecting the Mascoma game to get to that physicality. And some of my defenders were like, it wasn't that bad. Like the guys, the strikers for Mascoma were, pretty chill. Like they weren't anything. And then you have guys in the midfield that are like, oh, that was one of the most physical games I've ever been a part of. Like this was brutal, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, it's weird because there's 10-yard difference between the two. And it's like for this kid to come off the field and say it was the most physical game it's ever been. I mean, that kid he's all about contact. He's out there, initiating it and taking it. So it was for him to come off. But on the coaching side of it, we've been doing a lot of lighter practices just based on the fact that I have very limited guys to go into
Right.
into this stretch. So we'll practice tomorrow afternoon, and I've got one kid who's basically in a I've got probably two kids who are in non-contact at any
Right.
rate just to go, and then there's 2 kids that probably won't do anything tomorrow,
Yeah.
Monday, and then Tuesday they've got to have at least a 3-quarter practice to be able to go Tuesday or
Right.
Wednesday. Because they're like, I got one guy coming off a concussion. He's going to be good to go.
Yeah.
He's as long, knock on wood that he has no symptoms for the rest of the weekend, but he's been doing everything normal
Right.
so far. It's just
it's
whatever
good. That's
whatever
huge.
the protocol is to come back. So that'll definitely help. I mean, if we can get all 5 guys back, I mean,
It's a different team.
oh yeah,
a
completely
totally
different team
Yeah.
than what we had. I mean, the last time we were at full strength was
Is that against us?
no, we were still figuring things out against you guys. Kearsarge.
Wow.
Kearsarge was the last time that we were actually at full strength because we played Hillsborough Deering without Nacho because he had the yellow card issues, and then we lost a guy to a concussion shortly after that, and then we played Farmington, so we were missing a guy. We were missing one guy with an injury, and then we played Guilford missing 4, and Mascoma missing 5.
Wow.
So we haven't been full strength in 2 weeks. But that Kearsarge game, we handled everything. We played decently well against a top team.
Yep.
We did some things that you want to see. So it'll be good. I'm hoping if we can get those 5 guys back, we'll be in much better shape going into Conant on Wednesday.
Nice.
Well, good luck.
It's going to be a fun tournament.
Yeah.
Oh
Good
yeah,
luck-
it'll
good
be
luck to both
fun.
you guys. Yeah, should be fun for sure. Well, we won't know until what we're covering until tomorrow, Monday. Kind of have an idea with those volleyball games, but like girls soccer, I'm not even gonna try. Other
Yeah.
than Guilford is gonna host somebody.
Yep.
And then for boys soccer, kind of got an idea of where we might go. I'll look into the Bishop Brady game. Prospect's
That's
one of
gonna
our.
be a good
I was gonna say
game.
Prospect's one of our schools that we cover, so I think
Yeah.
it would be worth the trip down to Concord.
And those are 2
Telling you.
teams they're going to battle. They're going to battle. I mean, we played Brady, and they were physical. They were skilled. Prospect wasn't as physical as they usually are. The atmosphere was a lot better than it usually is.
When they play,
They're
play.
yeah. I mean, they're talented,
Yeah.
and Boudreau did a really good job this year in his first year. Another first-year coach
Yep.
going against Brady, who I don't know if it was his first year or
It's
not.
his first year.
So I mean, there's a lot. I think the only coaches I played that actually had been there for more than a year was Ewan Pinkham,
yeah.
and maybe White Mountain.
He's
White
got 20 years on me, though.
Oh yeah, Dave basically invented the sport. We're just fortunate enough to follow. But like I mean, Kearsarge, Hillsborough, St. Thomas, Berlin,
Yeah.
all those
Yeah.
teams are first-year head coaches.
A
And,
lot of new guys.
yeah, that's nice.
Excellent.
I
Yeah.
like to see it. Mascoma's coaches new-ish, but
Second year.
he came
Yeah.
back. He wasn't there. I don't think he was there last year, was he?
I think he was.
Was he?
he
I know he's
was.
been there in the past.
Yeah. I
But
think he was there last year.
we didn't play him.
He was.
Don't look at me. He's the AD there at
Their
Mascoma.
assistant coach is their AD. Yeah,
Yeah.
he's their AD and he
Oh.
drives the bus.
Yeah.
He drove the bus
I
to
was
Interlakes.
gonna say he was at the field hockey game at Guilford. I walked up, I'm like, "Hey, coach." He goes, "Oh no, I'm actually the athletic director." And I'm like, "Oh,
Yeah, he's a man
And-
of many hats over there because Rodney, their old AD, is at John Stark now.
Okay.
yeah,
Tina to Mascoma.
yeah, yep." She came over to me and she was like, "You're doing a great job." I'm like, "Thanks."
Thanks.
Why-
Shout out to Tina,
Yeah.
Mascoma principal.
Like,
She's awesome.
I was like, "Why are you a Mascoma again?"
Her
But-
kids went to Belmont.
Oh,
Yeah.
did they?
Yeah.
Yeah, one was below me, and then the other Becca was what, 2 years behind me,
I think so.
3 years.
Yeah.
Yeah, Lizzie was right behind me. Anyway,
Tyler played for me.
yep, he was older than
He was
me.
on that 2012 team.
He graduated in what, 16?
No, he wasn't on the 2012 team. He graduated in 17.
17.
Yeah.
So yeah, then he wouldn't have made it.
No.
He
I
wasn't
thought
a
he was
fifth
older.
year.
Sorry, Tyler. You're not that old.
Yeah.
He's a fifth year. It's fine.
That 12 team was solid. That 16 team was solid. I've never beat Foley in my 8 years at Interlakes.
Coming soon on Saturday.
Had a chance.
On
But
Sunday,
Sunday
guy.
on
It's a
Sunday the
Sunday.
30th.
senior day PKs put us under the ball, behind the 8 ball that day. But
Love
that's about the only
PKs.
time we've been close.
I've only seen PKs once. It was in actually that girls' soccer playoff game last year. I call him, and I'm like, hey, double overtime, still tied. Are we going to PKs? He goes, yeah, where are you?
In tournament.
Yeah.
In
I'm like, I'm
tournament.
at Guilford right now. I think they were playing Derryfield. I'm like, I think we're going to PKs. He was like,
you are.
no way. And it was funny because immediately after I got off the phone with you, I got the notification. Michael Foley's on your website. I'm like, well, he just
Gotta
tuned
watch
into
it.
the broadcast.
Gotta watch it. Well, that's how Hopkinton girls won a couple years ago.
Yeah. Well, I had never seen PKs before. That's why I was like, is this the
You
protocol?
weren't watching the games we had where we lost on PKs in the playoffs?
No.
Wow.
I was
Hurtful.
sorry.
Unreal. I was in college.
Yeah,
It's
you
usually
literally.
that's usually how.
Come on.
Unfortunately, that's how the last couple Division III boys tournaments have ended. Has been in PKs, and it's a great way to win. It's a terrible way to lose, unfortunately, but it's not the best ending to 100 minutes of hard fought play, because then it's
hard.
It's just
a
a luck
luck
thing.
yeah.
I mean, if you could have one of the better goalies, but if you guess the wrong direction, man, that's it. End of the day.
Well, it's
A
like
little bit of pressure on those guys.
a penalty
Taking shots, 'cause-
penalty stroke in that field hockey playoff game at Bishop Brady and Newfound. That was the second goal that Bishop Brady scored, and
That's all they needed.
that's all they
ended
needed.
up winning, what, 2-1?
yeah.
Yeah.
So, I mean, and it's unfortunate because you look at those penalty strokes, even with Guilford's field hockey game, the ball is hit and the goalie's going in the direction, just missed it.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, you guessed right, but you came up just short.
It's not easy.
You got to make a great play.
Right.
And that's what happened when we played Kearsarge. We had a PK late, and their goalie guessed right, made a great play on it.
Right.
I mean, and that's huge.
Yep.
If he had dove the other way, we'd lose 3-2. That's a completely different game.
Right.
People are talking about, like, oh, damn, Interlex is doing something here. 3-1, they're like, they lost to Kearsarge 3-1. You know?
Yeah.
But
No, for sure. But cool. Well, do you guys have any final thoughts or anything like that? I mean,
Final
before.
thought, Coach, good luck.
thank
All
you.
the best to you and your
You
players.
as well. I hope, hopefully, we'll be trekking to you guys on Sunday, the following quarterfinal game, if we can upset Conant.
We will be rooting for you.
Absolutely.
And
Likewise.
go Berlin.
Oh, absolutely. The Mountaineers. I got some of those guys I've been coaching against between baseball and soccer for years and years, and obviously you're rooting for the underdog, the ultimate upset, the
Listen,
16 over the 1. You know,
I appreciate what Dave has done at Guilford, and like as we said, they beat us 3-0 the second time around, and after the game, talking to Dave and Herman, and they were like, we really want to see you guys come tournament time. And I'm like, yeah, I want to see you tournament time too. That means
you're doing things well,
we've gone in the direction we want to go in. So
Cool. Well, I wish you both luck.
Thank you.
I also wish all the teams involved luck, and all of our Lake Region teams good luck.
Yeah, I mean, it'd be a terrible thing to not wish the volleyball and soccer team at Interlakes luck going into their playoffs. You know, they listen. I have to.
They listen.
I have to give a little
Yes,
shout
yeah.
out to those teams. Obviously, volleyball is going to host, and could as the 4 seed, they could host twice.
Yeah.
Those games are always good atmospheres to be at. Whatever happens with the soccer team, hopefully. If they host, great. If they don't, we'll be rooting for them as well Tuesday, wherever they go. They've had a good year. The ending wasn't as how they were hoping it for, but now this is the best part because you're in the playoff time, and what you did in the regular season means absolutely nothing.
Right.
We're all 0-0 right now
0-0.
going into these last ones. So if I didn't say anything right there, that'd be bad look for me. So I'm obviously rooting for the Interlakes girls teams.
Is there anything you'd like to say over there?
I'm gonna shout out to Jeff Malcolm and the Belmont girls.
And the volleyball team might squeeze in there.
They might.
They might. Although we kind of ruled them out, but either way.
I'm gonna shout out to Malcolm anyway because he's a good lad, as he says. Yeah, they wherever they end up. Playoff wise, they're going to have a tough road to go. But they're scrappy, they're competitive. He's going to have them, ready to go, and wishing them best. The unfortunate part, because they play Tuesday and they're going to realistically travel, unless something happens with the bracket, they end up at Guilford. We might be able to catch part of that game. I don't see them being in that bracket, but
Yeah.
realistically, they could go to Stevens, and there's no way.
Yeah, I mean that's you can't.
Practice
Yeah.
and go to Stevens to watch.
Especially with these outside games being at 3:00.
Yeah,
Like that's the tough part. Like as if our girls were hosting, sure, go watch the first half, maybe even the whole game, and still have enough time for us to practice, even if it's a little bit dark. I mean, we can get our fitness in at that point in the dark or evening. But I mean, where you're not sure if they're going to travel. I mean, they're not going to go to Guilford. They're not, Laconia's out. They're going to go Dairyfield, Campbell, Trinity. It's unfortunate that we won't be able to go and support, because I know the guys. I know at Interlakes, the guys absolutely enjoy. I mean, we were there down on the fence against Prospect Mountain the other day, and there was probably our season had just ended. I mean, we had a few JV guys there. And there was probably 14 or 15 guys along the fence, rooting them on, hoping, willing them to try to pull that one out for a win. And I gave them free reign. I'm like, you just have to be at the middle school game. If you want to go and watch girls soccer after that and support them, it's encouraged, but you don't have to. You've already done your obligation, and to see a good portion of the program there supporting and being there was a good sign. So,
yeah, and I think most schools, generally fall in that support kind of piece. We'll train for a good half hour, jog down as a team, hang out for half hour, 45 minutes, and then get back to training and stuff. And our girls have been, I would say, outside of my parents, our biggest supporters, over the course of the season, because and where I will tip my cap to the girls and not the guys, the girls know how to cheer a soccer game. And in the
wait
respect,
a minute.
listen, in the respect,
I know exactly what he's talking about right here.
They recognize when a play happens, and they're like, great job, woo-hoo-ah. Guys sit there and go,
Sir,
yeah,
sir,
you do, okay.
sir,
What's going on? Yeah,
sir.
it's like, cheer the game, not the other stuff that's going on.
Exactly. And the hard part with guys is they love that extracurricular.
Right.
They love the extracurricular and thrive on it.
Yeah.
So there were times I looked down the fence when we were at the girls against Prospect. I'm like, guys, the game, please. The game. Don't talk to the official.
Yeah.
Don't
get off
chirp.
Snapchat.
Yeah, it's like
Get
you don't
off
need to be
this.
chirping the play that's going on. Like root on our team in a positive way. And it was, some of it's funny because like they love to yell "sir" like when we're not playing. Because they just love it. Something they picked up throughout the year, and so like anytime any call could have been for us, sir. And it's like, come on, guys. Once is good, but continuously here for half an hour is a little bit much.
Yeah. But we also have because we're all constantly trying to hunt for ball boys and stuff during games. A lot of the girls will run sidelines and stuff for us, and it's great. It's just it's a wonderful, it's a great atmosphere for high school sports.
And it just shows that you can support each other, like the athletic department as a whole.
Yeah.
Because there are times that like our football teams, whether it's middle school or high school, will be having their little team feed in that concession stand, little bit of an area, and they're watching games that are going on, and they're supportive of each other. And we've gone to a handful of girls' games this year, and the girls have come and watched our stuff a little bit. And usually on Saturdays, there's a mix of both teams from volleyball. All of them are down watching football. And I unfortunately haven't gotten to a volleyball game yet, just based on the fact that it's we practice until 6 and we play games, and it's just tough to get in there. And sometimes
tough to get out.
Sometimes they're playing after we've had a tough one, and the last thing you want to do is hang out at times, because then you got to talk and you don't want to people at that point.
So what happened in your game today?
Yeah, exactly. They want to chit chat, so I'm just dropping my water cooler off and I'm getting out of there.
I saw the second half. What happened there?
Yeah, so we'll get up there. I mean, if things don't go well Wednesday, we'll have a little bit more time, so those guys will definitely be at the quarterfinal, and that gym will be a zoo.
I mean, regardless of what happens, right? If you pull off the upset, it's awesome, and we'll get to.
Well, realistically, I'll be at Belmont on Sunday, regardless whether I'm taking a bus or driving myself there.
Well, that's the part that I was going to add is that I think when what ends
You're
up
invited.
happening, what ends up happening is. Look, we if we lose Wednesday, it'll be brutally difficult. But I'm going to go watch games.
Yeah.
We're going to go watch. I'll watch the semifinals. I'll watch the finals.
Yeah.
Come announce.
And probably will.
I mean, if you need one,
announce.
sure, yeah.
Hey.
Well, and that's the part that, like, you want to be there as the coach as long as possible.
Yeah.
And I told the guys that this spring, I was like, I'm going to Fisher Cat Stadium. I just would much rather be going on a bus. I think that's a much more enjoyable experience.
It's a little bit
And so,
better.
like, I've gone, like, I watched you guys play Mascoma at your place a few years ago,
Yeah.
pre-COVID, I think it
Yeah.
was. Jacob was probably a freshman
Yeah.
4 years ago, and that was a tough game that Mascoma ended up winning in PKs, and it was a tough game, but it wasn't a long trip for me
No.
to go and be supportive of another Lakes Region team and coach that I get along with.
Yeah.
Like, same thing with, like, going to Guilford or Prospect Mountain if they're still in and stuff like that. Like, you want to go to those games and just see, like, what it's like, just to get a little bit to maybe bring back to your team at some point. So,
Right.
yeah, I'll definitely be there Sunday at Belmont or Guilford, depending on wherever. Belmont, hopefully on a bus,
There you go.
realistically.
Hopefully.
It's all about the bus trip.
Yeah.
So-
It's all about the bus trip.
I'm going to Fisher Cat Stadium. I'd rather be on a bus. Why? Don't you rather get in your car and drive?
No
It's
way.
a little bit more
That was-
comfortable.
That atmosphere,
So much fun.
and it ruffled some feathers for the people that run the school, but to have that fire truck escort all the way to 93 and the people lined up in downtown Meredith and the police
Awesome.
it
It's
was
so cool.
one of the most electric experiences I've ever had. And those guys, we hit at 6 a.m. before we left at 7:30. Like, we were on field hitting, getting BP in. Like, those guys were wired for sound, and we got on there. I mean, everybody's on their phone. There's 2 fire trucks, a couple of police cars. Like, it was a fun time.
That's awesome.
I've been to some high school championships in my own car, and it's not as fun. The atmosphere is not as fun.
Fair enough.
It's much more enjoyable being in the dugout on field.
Yeah.
Right.
Same thing. I watched Trinity and Campbell last year.
Yep.
I would much rather be on the other side of the fence.
Right.
It's probably a little bit warmer pacing back and
A little
forth
bit.
instead of
A
standing.
lot of it.
You know what I mean? Like,
Getting your
you got a little
exercise in.
bit more room out there.
Right.
Good.
Cool. Well, like I said, I wish you guys luck. I wish everybody luck this week. As far as our schedule, as soon as the brackets come out tomorrow morning, we'll get right on it. And I'm going to go right down on the big board in my office the idea of where we're going to go, but we'll see. And like I said, we'll get our schedule out as quick as we can. And I know our first game will be Tuesday. Where? Not sure yet,
Who knows
but
yet?
we'll figure it out.
And Saturday you're in Meredith again for football final against a regular season final against Conval.
Yes. Sorry, I was like, wait, what am I doing?
Where am I
Saturday?
next Saturday? What is it?
Friday night, we got Guilford Belmont at St. Thomas. That should be a good one,
Yep.
hopefully. And then, so then Saturday football.
Yeah, Conval. So should be a win for our Interlake Smallboro boys, but you still got to play the game.
For sure. And then as far as next week's show, I'll talk to you guys afterwards, but we'll figure out if we're going to do anything next week or if we're just going to take the week off, given the fact that
Well, it depends. Yeah, we could
Yeah.
very well be playing each other.
or playing in general.
Yeah.
Who knows?
Say it. We could do it. Bring out 3 chairs, put them at midfield while warm-ups are going on.
Oh my! Can you imagine?
That would be actually quite wild.
One
Coach, how you doing? Great. How are you?
officials walk out. What's going on?
That'd
What
be
will be
fun.
done in a minute?
Hey, you want it on this spot, Gary Noyes? Whoever the official is that given day.
Gary did our game up in
Hand him a
Berlin.
microphone.
I had him up in Berlin too.
Yeah, I was like, what are you doing here?
Yeah.
He's like, they sent me. I'm like, all right.
I'm sure it was probably mileage, so he's going to take it
That's all right.
anytime he wants. You know?
I was happy to see him.
Get the extra $40 or whatever it is. Yeah.
But cool. Well, thank you guys for joining. Like I said in
you.
the beginning, we got big things happening here for the show. Sooner or later, you'll actually be able to see our faces. We'll actually have to shave and look presentable.
Yeah.
Oof.
Now
Oh,
I'm gonna have
man.
to wear a tie.
No, I know. I mean, and we
That's what we should do for a show. We should all show
just
up in
dress
suits.
Yeah, I know.
And then the next show, just
we've
come in
got-
our sweatshirts.
As we have men's league basketball going on out
Suits,
here.
briefcases. People, men's league will think we're scouting them.
I know.
Yeah.
Well, and we'd be remiss to not mention the atmosphere in this building right now.
Yeah.
I mean, we've got some men's league hoops going on in here.
Had some. We got some tryouts for the Granite State Elite baseball team happening
Nice.
over in the batting cages right now. They were on the far side doing some fielding stuff.
Yeah, I mean,
So-
this is for our third podcast to be in this atmosphere and to get it. I mean, Elite Sports Academy here.
Nailed it.
Or
Yeah.
you know,
That's
they're
it. That's-
they're this is a good building. This is a
That's
nice
awesome.
place. I mean, it's not a long trip for some of our Lakes Region sports teams
Yeah.
to come down and utilize a facility of
Or
this kind of.
utilize it or be interviewed.
There you
Hint,
go.
hint,
Yeah.
wink, wink.
Yeah.
We got a fourth headset.
I'm glad that
let's
I'm,
talk.
Get Malcolm. Get Malcolm in here.
Oh,
He
gee.
can ride down with Dan.
With Dan.
I'm glad we got
Carpool.
a decent little podcast sponsorship. You know,
Yeah.
it's
Yeah,
nice.
it's definitely a little bit of a step up from the mobile studio known as
Does
my
that
camper.
mean Devin now is paying mileage?
Whoa, hold on.
He's
No,
probably
no.
writing this off.
This
yeah.
is no. This is a
No,
bar.
no, you know,
Oh, I know. He probably should.
he'll be cutting us checks.
Yeah.
So it's okay.
How long was your trip?
Half hour, guy.
Oh, geez.
Really?
That's not bad.
I figured you had like the 10-minute commute.
No.
I'm probably at like 50, 55 if I'm going all the way home.
I'm
but-
sorry.
Yeah.
I-
see how this-
You know, I was a little bit weary at first, but now that I walked in, I mean, I don't like the green monster-y feel that
Oh
this has
yeah,
got
I
going
mean,
on.
come on.
But I mean, it's a nice space. It's a nice space.
It
We
is.
got.
Just so you know, we're all Yankee fans here. That's why we don't like the Green Monster floor.
Yeah.
It looks nice. I love the.
I'll
I
give
love,
them that, yeah.
It's pretty cool, but it should be painted in pinstripes.
I got some Yankee stickers we'll put
Yeah.
in strategic
Oh, we
places
can
around
absolutely
here.
do it. And the shout out. I mean, I've played some pickup basketball in my day here. There's some Lakes Region guys in here getting some shots up
Yeah.
and on some squads. Looks like there's an ex-Winnisquam alumni over there.
Oh, yeah.
I think we have a current Guilford kid in there as
yeah.
well.
Yeah, I mean, there's
Why would you say that?
There's-
Wow.
Why?
there's some
Why?
there's some Lakes Region talent down
Yeah.
here.
He's just enjoying the Sunday afternoon.
It's all
Jeez.
good.
Way to make it seem worse than it actually is,
Good
Foley.
times.
Anyways.
Oh, tough take.
All right,
my
so I
God.
gotta
All right,
go-
now we're gonna announce.
I gotta go buy some baseball cards.
Oh, jeez. There's
now
there's the plug.
Brought to you by TradeSafe.
Final
Brought to
10
you
minutes.
by Trade Safe.
Anyways, so thank you all so much for tuning in. Like I said, good luck to you guys.
Thank you.
Monthly
Good,
card show,
good luck to.
November 6th.
I'm going to turn your mic off. Again, thanks to Elite Sports Academy. This broadcast or podcast presented by them. We appreciate them and excited to see where the partnership goes.
Yeah.
And it's going to be a lot of fun.
That'll be great.
But until we see each other for the next podcast or broadcast or whatever you want to call it, for Dan and Mike, I'm Devin. Have a great night, and we'll see you all real soon. Goodbye.